All right, we'll begin our meeting by approving the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda. Carrie, second. Ron? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. All right, we're going to begin the meeting tonight with a board member statement.
Thanks. Superintendent Calvin, members of the school board, teachers, parents, and students. I would like to formally respond to numerous news and social media responses to my Facebook post dated May 9th of this year. First, I recognize that my post, which was intended in jest and was not directed at any specific person and posted for a very select group of personal friends, was harsh, it was insensitive, and it was offensive. I'm deeply sorry for my action, and I recognize that this type of post, even in jest, is inconsiderate and inappropriate. When I joined the United States Marines, I did so with the aspiration to serve my country, to protect its citizens, and to uphold the values portrayed in our Constitution, including the protection of freedom of speech. However, with freedom of speech comes the responsibility to understand the difference between a careless Facebook post and potentially hurtful expressions. When I continued my quest to serve my country and its citizens as a police officer, a government contractor, and now as a Wayne Central School Board member, I again renewed my commitment to act in an honorable and a professional manner. I recognized that I have disappointed many, and to them, I again offer my sincere apology. I ask for your forgiveness, and I promise to honor my commitment and to serve this district in a professional and a respectable manner. It is my sincere hope that this single, insensitive, and very unprofessional Facebook post is not the measure by which I will be judged in the future. At this time, I will be making no further comments on this issue, and I do truly appreciate your patience and your understanding. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and your consideration this evening.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to public comment. Before starting public comment, I've had some conversations with people who have found loud comments and side conversations in the audience very disruptive during previous meetings. Please refrain from these behaviors. Reminder, this is a meeting held in public according to open meetings laws, and it's not a public participation meeting, so thank you. All right, so at this time, we'll entertain public comment. Is there anyone who would like to speak? You may come up and sit down and use the microphones. Please state your name and address for the board clerk too. Forgot that part. Thank you.
My name is Tran Burns. My son, Luke, he took his own life this past fall. Did I need to give you my address too? Just my name. Address, it's 6640 County Line Road, Ontario. While writing out thank you cards, I looked up the meaning of our school colors. Blue means trust, loyalty, wisdom, truth, and faith. Gold means love, compassion, courage, and passion. The world as a whole is a lot different than it used to be. Kids and adults alike are having a hard time coping, coexisting, and communicating. Stress and depression are all at an all-time high. I believe that technology is a key component to this. It was made to make our lives better and easier instead of hurting us. Bullying is everywhere. Some sort of bullying is in every home, every school, and every job. Everybody judges everyone because we are human. In our district, like many, we, the administration, the Board of Education, teachers, and parents are trying to teach our children exactly what bullying does to our children and people. Our district has been teaching our children that bullying through social media is there forever, that you never know what someone else is going through. I was glad to hear from kids in Luke's class that Hearts for Heroes came and spoke to the students about bullying and suicide. That the saying, "Sticks and stones can break my bones," is incorrect, and it should say, "Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can kill me." Mr. McTeague, you hold an important position on our Board of Education. Your actions and words you displayed on social media have a lasting impression on our community as a whole, most significantly, our children. How can we lead by example when the Vice President of the school board cannot do this? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Thank you. At this time, we'll open up to board member comments. Matt?
I was reading one of our local papers that came across this article, and it's about Joshua DeMora. He wins Skills USA State CNC Milling Specialist Contest. And I'm going to read the first paragraph and the last paragraph. I'll skip the center that goes into lots of details. But anyhow, on April 27th, Wayne High School senior Joshua DeMora, representing the Wayne Technical Career Center, won first place in the Skills USA New York State CNC Milling Specialist Contest held at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. Skills USA is a partnership of students, teachers, industry working together to ensure America has a skilled workforce. And then it goes on to say that Joshua will be competing at the Skills USA National Competition in Louisville, Kentucky on June 19th through 24th. And Skills USA serves more than 300,000 students and instructors annually. The organization has 13,000 school chapters in 54 states and territorial associations. So I just thought he needed to be recognized.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can have it.
Ron?
Tim, recently there was an article in the DNC about the effect that college student loans is having both on millennials' ability to buy their first home and the effect it's having on our economy as the people aged 22 to 34 struggle with the amount of college debt. And I got to thinking about that and the impact it's having on us. And I think part of it is what we're seeing is that there's a delay in the age of marriage, and then there's a delay in the number of children that's happening. And as you see, enrollment is declining across New York State. And I got to thinking about our kids who are going to college, and we observe very closely our college and career readiness score. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, that's an arbitrary score set up by the state. It consists of 3 parts. Kids have to graduate on time. They have to earn a 75 on the English regions, and they have to earn an 80 on the math regions. And if they do those 3 things, the state says that they're college and career ready. As part of our strategic plan, we monitor that very closely. We also have in our strategic plan a goal of monitoring how many of our students graduate from Wayne Central with the equivalent of 3 college courses. So they would graduate with 9 college credits. We do know, and there's a lot of research to back this, that if kids graduate from high school with 18 college credits, they are much more likely to finish their college degree on time. So what I was wondering is if there are other indicators out there that we as a board ought to be monitoring to make sure that our graduates are indeed college and career ready. And what I would ask, and I would suggest to the board, is that we give consideration to asking the administration to come up with some other indicators of what would constitute college and career ready. For example, for our kids who go to BOCES, if they're enrolled in a cosmetology program, I would suggest that if they're licensed by the state at the end of that program, that would indicate that they're college and career ready. I know Dennis and I have talked. He has to, or he did before he retired, periodically take tests to maintain a particular certification requirement. So if a student would be enrolled in a body auto shop, if they had that certification, would that indicate that they're college and career readiness? So I would just like to make the suggestion that we give thought to asking the administration to come up with additional criteria by which we measure how many of our graduates indeed are college and career ready, not just rely upon that arbitrary figure that the state imposes. Thank you.
Just to respond to that, Ron, the Strategic Planning Committee did add some additional measures to that area this year, so, and that'll be coming when we see the whole plan. So
Good.
part of it's been taken care of, but we can look for more.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Carrie?
A couple of reminders. Some information has been on the website and home for younger students. The Relay for Life is next Friday. It is through the American Cancer Society. We're really looking for people to either purchase a luminary. You can get it anywhere in the building. It's $5 each. You can ask me for one. And this event, it's not like a relay where people are running. You get together with friends, family, however you want to do it, make a team. You walk laps. There's going to be bounce houses, DJ, food trucks, and just a really good time. And we're raising funds for the American Cancer Society. So it's next Friday at the high school track from 6 to 10 p.m. And you can start coming at 5 p.m. if you want to register, or you can register online in advance if you go to the relayforlife.org website. You can look up Wayne Central's event. I had the privilege of attending the high school unified basketball game on May 11th, and it was just fantastic to see the sportsmanship and just how hard these kids are really working, doing such a wonderful activity. And then the following day, had the privilege of being with Pam as well, and got to see Joe and Amy and Michelle at North Rose Wolcott, and just got to spend the day with Special Olympics and the hundreds and hundreds of students that are there participating in this region. And just what a fantastic opportunity to just watch some of our other children shine in events, because sometimes just with some of their disabilities they're not able to participate in some of the able-bodied activities that a lot of us just can do on a day-to-day basis. So it was fantastic. And then the other thing, I've gotten some feedback, both personally and just hearing, is that both the incoming 5th graders going into 6th graders, and I believe some of the other grades too, the free will students have been coming over for lunch at OE and have been able to meet some of their classmates next year. And just hearing that they are seeing some of their friends and some of their kids, and just some of the smiles personally that I've seen from my kids coming home, meeting some new people, and just the positive feedback that's coming through. And also the Pen Pal program that Nicole Dell had started, my child's participating in it, and they got to meet their free will friend during that day at lunch, and just what a wonderful opportunity it was. And then finally, just real quick, I just want to congratulate Steve Gallagher on his election to the school board, and to thank both Dan and Jen, and both Dennis and Ron and Pam for just really putting their neck out there to run for a position like this. This is not easy, and just it takes a lot of courage to be able to put yourself out there and do this role for 3 years. So Steve, welcome. And Dennis, even though you are not returning at this point, it's a pleasure still having you, and thank you for all that you have done. And to Jen and Dan, thank you for also just putting yourself out there to do this, because it's not easy and very few people do it, and there's a lot of work that comes with this. So I just would like to say thank you to everybody, and to Kathy and all her staff who worked really, really hard on Election Day to make the election possible. Thanks.
Thank you. Pam?
I also went to the Special Olympics, and just a little note, and I don't know if you knew this, there were a lot of high school kids from North Rose Wolcott that were there that day helping out, and I found out that was a day off for them because it was a Superintendents Conference day, so the kids didn't have to come to school. And I saw many, many students there from North Rose that were there helping out, and that really spoke volumes. It was a great day. Carla and Jeremy and Mathis and I also went to the 4 counties meeting in Canandaigua last Thursday, and Regent Wade Nordwood spoke at the meeting. He was one of the things I picked up, that he was encouraging school district to celebrate diversity in all forms, to celebrate student academic growth, and encouraging students to be college and or career ready when they graduate from high school. He complimented our region in particular, saying that both superintendents and boards, he thanked us for recognizing these values and promoting them in our districts, and our board goals have reflected this the past few years. So I was pleased to hear that. Also, our high school jazz ensemble and the ladies choir performed before the dinner and really dazzled everybody. We all got comments from people that we were sitting with and others in the audience on how good they were. And a particular favorite was their rendition of Moon River, and it really was beautiful. It really was. I also attended both the primary and elementary parent meetings for the incoming K-4 students. Both were well attended, and the parents and staff exchanged some good ideas and information. And the parents that I spoke with said that they were anxious to start the new year and commented on how beneficial that meeting was for them. And then I would like to personally thank our Wayne community for the great turnout for the budget vote 9 days ago. Our children are our future, and a good education is their future. So again, I do thank you for supporting the budget.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Jeremy?
I'm going to piggyback on a couple of the things. Regent Norwood had said at that meeting that the state is now trying to catch up to what we've put into an initiative in the past 4 years of using WTCC over there and counting, like Ron was saying, those technical services, technical careers. They're starting to see how important they are, that college is not the answer for everybody, and that's where the jobs are going. And what Carrie said, Tucker came home the other day very excited, got to meet a bunch of his buddies at the lunch when Free Will came over, and they had a blast playing there. I know I mentioned last time Miss Viola at the elementary school, the art teacher, with the Artsonia program that she uses. My daughter was very excited, and I know it's just a click if you know the person kind of popularity contest, but it was a nationwide thing against a few other kids, and she took second place, and it made her very proud. So that was nice, and having Miss Viola build that happiness and art with our kids. I wasn't able, due to my son playing junior lacrosse, see the boys win their first lacrosse sectional game the other night. I did get to see the girls after we left this packed house of the concert last night. And the kids are doing a great job in the music, sports, and it's just an exciting time. I mean, tough for the sports teams with the weather, everything getting rescheduled, but they're doing very well.
Something that Jeremy said, and I'd be negligent if I didn't repeat this, but the girls last night won their first sectional soccer game, or sectional lacrosse game in school history. My granddaughter's on that team, and if I didn't mention that, I'm afraid I'd be in trouble.
Carl?
Well, since our last board meeting, I've been pretty busy too, like the rest of you. I attended a couple of the parent information nights that Pam and Donna had for their respective incoming students, and I'd like to thank them for preparing such nice PowerPoints and doing such a fine job with informing our new parents that are going to those buildings. I'm looking forward to seeing Derek and Holly on June 5th. I know Free Will had their carnival last Saturday. I know it was well attended. I wasn't able to go because I was at a NISBA conference, but I want to thank all the parents for their effort and all the donors and staff and everyone that worked on that. That's a great event. I also want to thank WTA for the signs and everything that they put out to encourage our voters to approve our budget, which was approved. I, too, went to 4 County, and it was great to listen to Regent Norwood talk about the new ESSA coming down the pipeline, where instead of measuring a student by their score, we're going to be measuring students by their growth. And that can be very disheartening for kids to just be measured by a score instead of where they were in September, where they are in January, and where they are in June. So I'm very looking forward very much to that. And I want to congratulate, I'm not going to say it right, but Bella Voce and the ensemble, the band ensemble that played, and also did very well in their competitions. They were really, that Moon River, I wish I had it on tape. And I hope that people took advantage to look at the art show and the work that was up at the vote, because those kids work very hard. And I just want to say to my board members, I did go to NISBA Saturday for the presentation on mental health, and there were numerous people there, psychologists, social workers, superintendents, principals, people that deal with the juvenile justice system, many school board members. It was just really informative on how many children, it's not just your kids with anxiety or ADD or whatever. It's kids with a multitude of issues, and that we all need to keep in mind is that when kids come to school, they come to school with more than just their backpack on their mind. So I have notes. I took a plethora of notes and I typed it, and it's 5 pages of typed notes that I took. So if anybody's interested, I'd be glad to email you my notes. But I think that's all I have right now. It was a busy couple of weeks.
Anyone else? Dennis?
Yeah, I attended the Free Will Carnival this weekend. I just want to thank all the parents that put it together. Great job. My granddaughter had a great time at it. Your effort and your work is well received. Thank you.
All right, I just got to add a couple things in here. I can read on the sign out there, and I heard about it too. The girls' track team was league champions, another championship. I'm sure there's others that we'll hear about, but we didn't hear about it yet. I'd like to congratulate the music department on the Cedar Point trip. This is secondhand information, but my son said the jazz band took first there, and the band took second, but they did win an award for their behavior. They took first place with that, so that's some good work and a good trip for the kids. So that's all I have. All right, this time I'd like to turn the meeting over to Dr. Calvin to go through his plan.
Good evening, Board. Just wanted to kind of come out so I can see everybody face to face. So first of all, just a couple of things to highlight, some of which have already been highlighted. We had some really great things happening here in the district. The high school band concert was on May the 10th. The Free Will Band and Chorus concert was May 18th. A really great concert. Also, I was at the Free Will and Ontario Primary second grade concert. What a great concert just the other night. Lots of people here from all over the district. Kids did a fantastic job. I also want to just highlight that we have some staff members. Unfortunately, we had one of our teachers who got sick really unknowingly, really close to the time of the performance, and the staff really just pulled together. And it was just so fantastic. You wouldn't have even known that they had not prepared weeks and months in advance, because from 4:30 till the time of that concert, they had to prepare, and that concert just went off without a hitch. It was fantastic. So just want to thank Andy and also Kathy Percani for the great job that they did as well tonight. Great concert. Ontario Elementary Band and Chorus concert was just last night. Great things happening there. The Free Will Band also played at the national anthem at last night's Red Wings game. And the middle school band and chorus concert will be on May 31st. So, Board, if you'd like to come out, we'll be there on the 31st. The high school concert, chorus concert will be on June 6th. So some great things coming up. We also want to congratulate some of our students. We have some congratulations to our Stars of Tomorrow winners. So Brianna Gerhardt is received Outstanding Supporting Actress. We also had Outstanding Student Orchestra, Outstanding Stage Crew, Outstanding Acting Ensemble, Singing Ensemble, and the Bob Sagan Award for Outstanding Musical Production. So very proud of our students who won this whole honor around Stars of Tomorrow. So just really great work. Earlier, Matt talked about Josh Demora. I apologize. We did have him in our PowerPoint. So he's given accolades to him, and we're just really proud of his representing the Wayne Technical and Career Center and winning the first place in the Skills USA New York State CNC Milling Specialist Contest. Joshua will also be competing at the Skills National Competition in Louisville, Kentucky. And then our Special Olympians, what great students. We had a number of students, close to almost 20 or more students that were at the Special Olympics, and Carrie just talked about that. So we're really proud of the great work that our students did. Congratulations to all of our athletes who competed at the Special Olympics held at North Rose Walcott. Aside from that board, we do have some recognitions for each of you all. So each year, the New York State School Boards Association does seek to thank board members for their participation and to honor board members for their participation in professional development. And there are a number of you all tonight who are receiving that information or receiving that recognition for attending workshops. And so Carla and Ron, Pam, Carrie, Phil, and Tim, there are some really nice certificates there at your table setting. And the letter was sent to us from Barry Indwisso, who is the Director of Member Relations, and I'll share that. I'll put that out for an email for all of you all to see. We just want to make sure that you received those tonight as well. There is also an upcoming Schools Boards Appreciation Week reception that will be happening. It's a thank you and also a way to recognize all members, veteran members and new members. And at our four-county meeting that occurred the other night, they mentioned this nice reception that's going to be happening. It's on June 28th from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Memorial Arts Gallery. So if any board members would like to go, it's a nice way to meet other board members from really this region of the state. Okay. So today I want to also just shift gears and talk a little bit about a couple of things, the Gannett meeting, the Wayne County Shared Services Agreement, and some other things, ESA and federal budget pieces that were just released, just some information items. So just so that you know, very soon, I believe it's next week, Kathy, I'm not sure if it's next week, I believe it is, I have a meeting that's set up with the new Vice President of Gannett Nuclear Power Plant. My goal is to go out and to see how things are going at Gannett, to hear what's happening legislatively, and just kind of learn as much information as I can. And board, after having the meeting, I'll come back and share with you the information. Also, just so that you know, so over the last couple of years, the state has been working with municipalities and districts trying to see if there's any way to increase shared services. And recently, the state went to different municipalities and said, hey, listen, we want you to do even more wherever possible. Are there things that we can share and do to basically save money across the state? So across our county, Wayne County, many of the town supervisors are looking at ways to share, and they have reached out to all of the superintendents in Wayne County to see if there are areas that we are able to do some sharing with. So whether it's plowing or if there are different things that can be done in terms of delivering of equipment or whatever's out there, they're basically trying to brainstorm. And the state is actually given about a month and a half for this process to be completed, which normally it takes a little bit longer than that to have those conversations. But just want to let you know, in case you hear about it in the news, this is something that districts do all the time as of late, where we're trying to look for ways to share. But there is a ramped up piece with municipalities. So we know that our county leaders have reached out to us and other districts, and we'll be a part of those conversations to see if there are areas that we can share at. Certainly if there are efficiencies that everybody can realize, that's always a great thing. So we'll provide more information soon on that. The Every Student Succeed Act. So you heard several board members tonight talk about Regent Wade Norwood's discussion recently around ESA. And just to give some background, this is a new act that is coming through. On December 10th, 2015, President Obama signed the Every Student Succeeds Act into federal law. The bipartisan measure reauthorized the 50-year-old Elementary Secondary Act, better known as ESEA, which provides federal funds to improve elementary and secondary schools in the nation. In turn, ESA requires states and local educational agencies as a condition of their funding to commit to certain actions, which include looking for ways to close the instructional gaps that might exist amongst students in higher or lower performing schools. ESA retains many of the core provisions of No Child Left Behind, but there are some differences. However, ESA also provides states with much greater flexibility in terms of looking at methodologies for differentiation and looking at ways to support and provide interventions for students. So this is a new act that has just been going here in the state. A lot of discussion around it. Tomorrow when I send out on the Friday note, I'll send you a little write-up on ESA, but I just wanted to kind of share, if you're hearing about it, that is actually something that's really going on now in the state. People are looking at how do we really meet the needs of all of our kids, especially those kids who seem to be falling through the cracks, basically. How do we keep kids performing And it's a really great act in that it gives us more leverage to do things that we weren't able to do before, basically. So I'll send out more information on that tomorrow. The only other thing that just came across my desk that was shared with us in the region as superintendents was the federal budget. So there are some concerns. You will probably hear about this in the news, and I'll send out some information as well to you all about this tomorrow. The federal budget was just released May 23rd, and this fiscal budget is a little bit different than what's been occurring in the past. So the budget officially starts October 1st, runs to September 30th, but federal funds don't get to schools till a year later. So a little bit different. This year's budget proposals really represents, from what we have heard and learned, a pronounced departure from recent budget proposals. Unlike years before, which prioritized and protected many of the educational investments, this proposal really disinvest in education across really the full continuum, reducing supports for early education, elementary education, and secondary education programs. We, as a whole, we know in New York State, we are scheduled to receive about $9.2 billion less in terms of federal funds than what has been received previous years. That's about a 13.5% decrease in federal funds. So in terms of really looking at this, there are some concerns, and I wanted to share that with you because all districts are really hearing about this as of yesterday, and we just want to make sure everybody knows what's happening if you hear about it in the news. The overall budget for the federal budget is about $4.1 trillion. And this new budget that's coming out, it really eliminates around 66 programs. The total impact is $26.7 billion that we've learned as of yesterday. The educational programs slated for elimination, they are around again that $4.9 billion, and they include, 21st century learning centers, comprehensive literacy development grants that districts can receive. And I won't go through all of them, but those that are in red, I'll highlight. The strengthening institution grants, student support and academic enrichment grants, ESA title funds, supporting effective instruction state grants, ESA Title II funds, and then teacher quality partnership grants. So we're not sure exactly how that's going to trickle down to us, but soon we will be getting information around how that's going to affect next year's budget. So we just approved a budget, and we're just thinking now about next year's budget. But we just kind of want to let everyone know that's something that is happening. There are some regional and some state legislative committees. I know the 4-county group will be certainly taking this up. That'll be doing some letter writing campaigns and doing some, legislative kind of advocating on behalf of students. If this does go through, there can be some challenges across the state. So, and it looks like it probably will. So we'll keep you in the loop, and we'll share information as we learn more. Just wanted to share that with you all tonight. Okay, so now we're going to move over to our transition piece. I'm going to invite Mr. Atsef, and tonight we have also Jim King and Bob, if you can join us as well. Mr. King is from King & King Architects, our new architect who's on board with us. I know you've seen him before, and we just want to share some information with you around our transition. So as Greg is passing that information out, let me just share a couple things in terms of where we're at right now in terms of the transition calendar. So in May, on our calendar, which is posted on our webpage, we had a couple items which were to have our budget vote for next year. We did do that. That was approved. We said that we would go out and meet with our PTO. There was a PTO meeting that recently happened, and we did share information with the PTO around the budget. And then we were hosting our parent meetings, which we have hosted. However, they have not been 3 through 6. They've been K through 4. The 5th and 6th grade meeting will be in June. I believe it's June the 5th at, I want to say 6 o'clock, or I think it's 6 o'clock or 6:30, one of the two. And then the Superintendents Conference Day. So tomorrow is our Superintendents Conference Day, and our teachers will be coming together again, working in the sites that they are going to be working in and with the staff. And we'll be looking at reading programs. We'll be looking at bringing our staff together, and we'll be working through those pieces tomorrow, basically. For June, in terms of the things we'll be working on, we're going to be working on our transportation routes as we do each summer. We'll be starting to really get ready for the moves that will be occurring. We'll be looking at the needed repairs that need to be made, and as soon as that school year ends, we'll be starting with whatever repairs need to be made across the district, as we typically do every year. If there are additional staff that will be needed, we'll be starting that process in June as well. And then our year-end transitional activities. So there'll be some field days. As you've heard, there's some activities already going on with the lunches, ways that we can transition kids across our district. So we'll be enacting some of those transitional activities. There are, by the way, 2 packing days that will be occurring in June. That last week of June, teachers will have time to pack the rooms. These are just teachers moving from one building to another, get those 2 days, and then there'll be 2 days of unpacking in August. And then we do plan to reach out again to our parent-teacher organization. And I'd like to this time go out, sit down, and meet and have more discussion with our parents in June. Okay? So over the last month, just so that you know, we have been working on a number of items. One of those items is our schedules. So after presenting our schedules, we had some questions, some concerns, some thoughts that came out as a part of our listening and learning meetings. And we've been working with staff, the principals, particularly our secondary schedules. Principals and union leaders, have been working together. Also, Joe has been a part of those conversations. And now we're starting in some areas to build the schedule, our schedules to kind of see where we go next. So at our next, either our next meeting or the following one, we'll be back and we'll share more information around those schedules. We have hosted, as we said, some informational meetings for our parents. The grade 5 and 6 meeting will be held June 5th. And again, as I've already mentioned, we'll be making some plans. And our transition team is going to be meeting on June the 6th. Each of the subcommittees will be meeting either before or shortly after that, but the full team will be back together on June the 6th in the boardroom. And we also have a video project that we've been working on. So one of the things that the group that I have been working with has been working on is a video project. And this is really a question and answer kind of project. So we know some of our parents value or utilize a lot the newsletters. Some are very busy and look for other ways to get the information pretty quickly. And so this is an alternative to the newsletters. And these types of videos will be posted onto our web page so that people can hear what's going to be happening in terms of the transition. Amy, can we just go ahead? We can just show you a very fast take.
How many sections of 5th and 6th grade will be offered at the middle school next year?
So right now, we're planning on 8 sections of 5th grade and 7 sections of 6th grade. There will be some teachers who teach both 5th and 6th grade. The way we have it set up is classes will be departmentalized, so students will move from core subject area to core subject area. So there will be some teachers who teach both grade levels.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Can you talk about how band and chorus will work next year for 5th and 6th grade?
Sure. Right now, we have an activity period before school for 5th graders where we find band and chorus. Next year, that activity period will be at the end of the day, and band and chorus for both 5th and 6th grade will be during that activity period at the end of the day.
Right.
For the 5th graders, how will the lunch and the recess time be included during their day?
Okay, so there will be 3 lunches at the middle school. The first lunch will be exclusive for 5th grade. So only 5th graders will eat first lunch, and they will rotate between lunch and recess. So some of the students will go to lunch first, while the other half goes out to recess, and then we will swap that out. They will go to lunch, and the other students who've eaten lunch will go out to recess. So 5th graders will have a recess period during their lunch, and they will eat lunch only with 5th graders.
Can you talk about how 5th, 6th, and 7th will be separated, or will there be much interaction throughout the day between the grade levels?
Sure. The building right now, we've moved some rooms around, so all 5th and 6th grade classrooms will be on the first floor, and all 7th and 8th grade classrooms will be upstairs. So there will be a separation. Obviously, at some point, kids might see each other in the hallway, but for the most part, 5th and 6th graders will stay on that first floor and then move out to specials from there. But all their classrooms, their core classrooms, will be in that hallway on the first floor.
Okay. So you can kind of just see a little, I won't take you through the whole video, but each of the videos are really no more than about 3 minutes apiece. There's about 5 of them, and they have a lot of information in them. We didn't want them to be too long, so we could keep the attention of everyone and get the pertinent information out. But soon, board, you will see this information out there on the webpage. Just another way to get information out there for our parents. We have about 5 of those different videos, and we have parents asking the questions and having conversation back and forth with our administrators. And our goal is to continue to provide information for everyone as much as we can. So we're trying to do it through video, we're trying to do it in writing, we're doing it in parent information meetings. And the goal is to continue to communicate about what's happening and how it's occurring. So soon you'll hear more about those and you'll see more. Just wanted to kind of share that with you. Okay, so transitioning now to just one more piece around the transition piece. So we have King & King here with us tonight, and we are doing some work. We're now involved in the work around the egress over at the OE area and the extra parking lot. We just kind of want to give you an update in terms of progress as to where we're at today, okay? So I'm going to let Greg and King & King and Bob, I'll let them talk a little bit.
Thank you. So we start tonight with a drawing that shows the existing configuration at OE and the proposed curb cut connecting to the road that comes into the 2 schools there. And on the left, you can see the existing layout, and on the right is the drawing that shows the curb cut coming in, and it goes along the west side of the existing parking lot. And if you look to the east side of the parking lot, you'll see that the entranceway into the parking lot that came from the current entranceway to the property has been closed off and parking spots created, as well as the entranceway to the parking lot on the south side. Both of those have been closed off and made into parking. Jim King is here with us tonight from King & King, and he can talk more specifics, but we believe this plan will clearly help the traffic flow at the site. It'll give us plenty of parking, and the county is still on board with us. We actually touched base with them today. There's a tree that's got to be removed, and as part of their portion of doing the curb cut and putting the drainage pipe in there, they are going to remove the tree. So we've been talking with them. And Jim, I think the time frame is mid-June for them to get started.
Yes, just to continue on with what Greg started. As he said, I think the intent here is to try to make this site safer for students, staff, parents, buses, et cetera. So really what this plan does is separates the bus traffic, which will come in the existing entrance off Ridge Road, from staff parking and parent drop-off. The intent would be that the parents would pull into the parking lot through the new curb cut a little farther down Ridge Road there. As Greg just mentioned, come in, loop the parking lot, drop their students off, either park in the new spaces that are shown there at the east side and walk their student into the building, or allow the student to walk across on a marked crosswalk that currently exists, and then drive back out on the second access that is coming off Ridge Road. Great. Matt has mentioned shared services. This is maybe an example of what the county has already agreed, probably before any formal agreement is in place, but the county, we started out talking, I think Greg made that contact early on. They have agreed essentially to do all the work required to put that curb cut in and pave the new road, entrance road, up to and meet the existing parking lot. So that's a significant amount of work that they're doing on your behalf. We completed the design, the initial design, which is the drawing, a black and white drawing on the right. We sent that to them a week or so ago and have had several conversations with them along the way. They really don't need any more information from us. They're taking our drawing, putting it into their CAD system and getting ready for construction. A week and a half ago, they indicated that would take a couple of weeks on their end, and as Greg said, estimated start date maybe mid-June. So they've already completed their survey along the Ridge Road area. We were fortunate enough, wandering through your archives, found this drawing on the left, which was a very good starting point with all of the utilities and surveys shown along the front of your property on Ridge Road. So that was a great starting point. You want to flip to the other piece, or you want to take?
Are there any questions on this first piece from the board?
If somebody does come in the existing way, what happens to them?
Well, we're going to have signage there that'll say bus entrance only, and at the beginning of school for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, we've already talked with the superintendent about having some live staff bodies over there, staff members, to be able to help control the traffic and help people with the new traffic piece. If they come in that way, Carla, when the buses are there, it's going to be very chaotic for them. They won't be able to get into the OE parking lot at all. They could actually come in that way and get back to OP, but they'll be in the middle of 20 buses that 10 will be at OE, 10 will be at OP, dropping off students and then crisscrossing. So it's our sincere hope that once people get used to the new system and with some assistance from the district, that people will understand why they should not be in that area. But we will have signage there saying that this is a bus entrance only plus a live person.
Again, as Greg has mentioned, our goal is to make sure that everyone understands the routines. So we are thinking we're going to have a couple people out there, especially once we start the year, to make sure everybody understands the right ways to go. We anticipate we're going to have a couple people who go the wrong way the first couple of days, but once people get used to the routines, we think people will be okay. We sure can, absolutely. Sure.
Yeah, going back to the shared services, I mean, we're going to have the state there, or the county there doing the front driveway cut. Is there any way we can talk to them about paying them for that back parking lot? I mean, we got to pay somebody. Why not pay ourselves?
When we met with Mr. Rooney early on, I'd actually thrown that out, and their schedule's pretty tight. So I'm not sure if that's. I mean, we can continue that discussion. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, certainly great idea, right? We, as Jim has mentioned, we're really pleased. I do have to say we want to thank the county, and if they're watching this, I hope they are. I'll tell them to watch this, because they've been really, really good to us. I mean, to have people out helping and assisting in this way and putting in the drainage and agreeing to do the cuts and helping us with the trees. And I mean, they really have gone really above and beyond. Would you agree? And we're all kind of like, whoa, thank you. We're just really pleased with the work and the partnership so far. But we'll certainly ask. We may not, it's always worth it to ask, and we've already asked. But we do want to also tell them that we appreciate, because they've really done a lot.
Just a question on just looking at the exit, does that extend the parking lot at all, or just at the very end? Because it seems like there's a lot of space over there. It's pretty unsightly. I didn't know if it was going to cover up that. There's a lot of trees that are just laying there. I didn't know if there's more room that way that we could have used or not.
Yeah, any of the initially the road was slated to go a little further west, but then when the architects drew it, this plan actually made a little bit more sense. There are some brush and trees in the culvert area that our staff will be in there clearing that out to increase the sight line as you come to Ridge Road, so it's a safe exit or entrance into there. We also like the fact, Tim, that the road was a little towards the end of the parking lot, because that leaves us the ability to move the snow from that parking lot to the west side. Our concern when we had it further west was there was really no place to put the snow, and depending on what kind of winter we get, it's a challenge already, because there's not a lot of empty space in that front part there for the snow removal. So
I think the other thing we were also trying to do is create a true T intersection where the new road meets the existing road, so there'd be at least a stop sign in one direction, so that the people coming out of the parking lot would have to yield to those buses or other cars coming down the access road.
Then we pick up a few spots on the east side when we close that off. We can put parking in on that side too.
yeah, the overall plan, I think we lose. I was going to say no more than 5 spots overall. And as you come in, where the new road touches the existing, there'll be stop signs there. And then if you're a bus coming from OE over to OP, there'll be a yield sign there as well. So the signage will be important to make sure that everybody does what they're supposed to, and we keep it as safe as possible.
Next question. Is this going to be like a one-way around that loop where people park as you come in for where their parents are dropping kids off?
Yes, the OE parking lot will be one way, so you'll come in and you want to come in the southern entrance and it'll loop around and then loop back out the north. So it's on, I don't know if it's on this drawing, but it's on another drawing that we have that's slated for one way.
Probably not width between the spaces for two cars to go in both directions, and
No, it'll
just
create,
be a little more
yeah,
unsafe.
create a lot of gridlock
They
and
do it
stuff.
that way now.
I've seen a lot of crazy
They go north
places
and
at
south.
schools that didn't make sense, so I just wanted to
Yep.
check.
Nope.
Thanks.
Yeah, if somebody was dropping the student off without parking and walking them in, they'd be obviously getting off on the right side of the car, walking right onto the crosswalk.
Okay. Maybe if we could flip to the next one. What you see here is a drawing for the parking lot extension for currently Ontario Primary, which will be Wayne Primary when the plan goes into effect. This is an overhead shot. You can see the building there, it's identified, as well as the playground. And the parking lot addition is coming off of the south end. Once again, this Jim's firm has done the drawing, so I'll really let him do the specifics and what went into the drawing.
Sure, thanks, Greg. This one we're still working on. Unfortunately, we couldn't find or didn't find a survey in the crawl space of your building, so we've engaged a surveyor to take some grade shots out here and really to make sure that we are appropriately dealing with the water that is going to run off of this lot. There is a swale along the east property line, which is where the water is going to be directed. We obviously don't want to take any of the water that's running off the new lot. We don't want it to run into the building, onto the existing parking lot, or into the playground. So without a real survey, it would just be eyeballing it, and that's not what we want to do. We want to make sure it's right. So the survey's in process. We've been pushing him to try to get that as soon as possible. He said it was a couple of weeks to get his crew out there and get the survey done. And once we have that, we'll be able to complete our drawing. It'll be similar to the drawing you see on the first page with some notes and specifications so that we can actually go out. We'll definitely send a copy to the county, certainly if their forces are available and they're willing to offer a cost back to you folks, that would be great. We've also had conversations with Greg and our civil engineer, landscape architect about either taking this out and getting 3 or 4 quotes from local site contractors that you know and that we know, and even going as far as making it a formal bid, public bid. And we're looking at kind of researching your board purchasing policies to make sure we're clear there as well. So we'll get at a minimum, there'll be at least 3 quotes, but it's looking like it may actually be a formal public bid. And then we get the work done before the buses and parents start showing up and the contractor to complete before the opening of school.
So just to refresh your memory on the plan, the north parking lot that exists right now for staff will not be used for staff parking next year. That will be for visitor parking and for parent drop-off for students. Bus drop-off will be in front of the school in the bus loop as it exists currently, and all staff parking, besides the few spots that are part of the bus loop there, will be at the south. So just an overview of what the plan thought was behind that. So,
Greg?
yes.
The parking that's currently in the loop area at the primary school, will those spots stay, or are we going to not have those spots?
No, those spots will stay.
They will, okay.
Other questions, board? Okay, we have one last. The signage will be important, as I stated. You know, having stop signs and yield signs appropriately placed will help with the traffic flow. But currently, we have signs of this. These are actually renditions of the signs we have. They'll be slightly modified. The one for right now, they say Ontario Primary School and Ontario Elementary. Those names will be changed as per the board's action. I don't remember a couple months ago to change the name to Wayne Elementary and Wayne Primary. So you see the new names on top. And these signs have panels underneath that help with the traffic flow. So the one for Wayne Primary will stay in its existing spot. The only change there is two of the arrows are now pointing to the right for the visitor parking and student drop-off. Those locations changed. The Wayne Elementary sign currently, when you pull in the current entranceway, it's right at the corner where the crosswalk starts by the parking lot. That sign will actually be moved over to the new entranceway on the right-hand side. Hence, you're going to see, and we're not going to use the panel that says bus drop-off. That won't be used, but student drop-off for parents will be to the left, visitor parking left, staff parking left, and Ontario Primary to the back. Currently, in front of Ontario Elementary is a wooden sign that our staff did years ago, and it's got the name routed in there. So we're going to replace that with a sign of this nature that says Wayne Elementary out in front. And then outside of the new entranceway, we're going to have, won't have the top art, it'll just have the panels, and it'll say Wayne Elementary and Wayne Primary. And it'll be a sign that will be visible from both sides of Ridge Road, no matter which direction you're coming. And it'll be a lower sign. We have a similar sign by the corner of the district office entranceway, not at the district office door itself, but right on the corner by the flagpole. There's a sign that doesn't have the top part, but it's got the panel. So we're looking at a lower one, so people will, and it'll be close to that new entranceway, so people will realize that this is the entranceway for the site. So one thing that you might end up seeing on the signs, because the lettering, and actually I'm going to let Bob talk about the lettering.
So we were able to, the signs we currently have, I think we did in 2015, so they're relatively new. The company that we worked with still had all of our information and artwork on file. The only issue we may have is the letters are a vinyl letter. They can come off, and we can take Ontario off, put Wayne on. We're hoping that they're not too UV damaged, where you'll still see kind of the shadow of Ontario. But I think they're new enough that we might avoid that issue. We're hoping anyway, and so I think it'll make good use of what we already have, and then also with the new sign in front to replace that wooden sign. We'll be matching. It'll look a lot sharper, I think.
One more question.
Go ahead.
I have to go back a little bit to the parking over at the primary school. There's not spots to park there, but I haven't been there in a couple of years because my kids were older to pick them up. A lot of times people would pull around to the loop and then park or back into the grass where the buses go around. Is that something they're still going to be able to do, or is that something that could be paved and have spots there or not? You know how in front of the building the buses pull up? Well, some people would always go park on that hill above where when they go out and leave, people would park in the grass there. If it was too wet, there'd be ruts, and I didn't know if that needed to be taken care of a little bit or thought of. That's all.
Yeah, it's actually our desire that nobody parks there, but with the reality of schools and events that take place, on good days we don't need that parking. On certain days we need that parking and more that we don't have. We didn't really actually have anything planned for up there that's not already existing. But, it's something we could take a look at.
Bob, this may sound petty, but I'm just going to ask. If we can't get the background, are we just replacing them so they're not tacky?
Probably.
Okay.
We talked about that as being,
okay.
A possible. We want to try to use what we have if we can.
Just asking if there's a backup plan if they're not looking nice.
There might even be a way to recoat the blue as well. So
okay.
We don't want it to look bad. So they're going to look good some way.
We won't leave it tacky long term.
Right.
I promise you that.
Right.
It might look that way a little bit in the beginning, but that is not the long-term plan to look tacky, because the superintendent wouldn't allow that to be our long-term vision.
So we brought up the signage so that people would know about it. As we were talking earlier this year about changing the schools and the names, there was a lot of concern around spending a lot of money on the signs. So we don't want to spend a whole chunk of money. We've got some really good signs. They're only 2 or 3 years old. So if we can repurpose those, that's our goal. If there's something that can't be repurposed, we will. So if people are out there talking about it, our goal is not to spend a whole lot of money on some signs, right? Most important is our kids. But we're going to do some changes, but we just kind of want people to know that.
And just one more. The way the signs are constructed, the poles actually have slats in them. So the top panel slides in, and then all the panels below, they all slide in. So, you know, we're more concerned about the top panels with the, you know, the fading and whatnot. So if we have to replace the top ones to make it look good, we'll definitely make sure we take care of that.
Okay. Any other questions, Board? So I want to thank Mr. King for coming, and I know he'll be back and will be with us long term. So we'll have him back when we're ready for the next progress update. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Thank you. And drive safely. So just in terms of the consent agenda tonight and board business, so there's a number of policies there for second reading on the agenda tonight. In terms of the consent agenda, there's a gifts of scholarship funds. We want to make sure that we approve and accept the budget vote results. There's some budget transfers there, healthy service contracts, and there are some personal actions. And with that said, any other questions tonight, Board? If not, thank you. All set.
All right, this time we'll move through the action items listed. I need a motion to approve the second reading of policies 1510, 5220, 5512, 5661, 5570, 5572, 7222, and 7530. Pam, second. Carla? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. All right, at this time we'll move on to the consent agenda. And is there anything you'd like to add to things on the consent agenda? Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Matt, second. Carrie? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. All right, moving right along to our committee reports. Audit Committee, Matt?
No report. We meet in September from next time.
Okay, thank you. Carrie for Policy and Wellness?
Policy, no report, and wellness, just a reminder, Relay for Life next Friday, June 2nd.
All right, thank you. There will be no board president comment. I need a motion to return to executive session to discuss performance of a particular staff member. Need a motion? Ron, second. Carrie, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.